mental health and the benefits of doing the hard things. So before I got into the technology world, I spent 25 years running software teams. Before that, when I was fresh out of college, my first post-college job was wrenching on cars. That's right, I spent 7 years as a mechanic. Now, what's interesting about this is that I spent 7 years as a mechanic on Ferraris, a handful of Lamborghinis, and a couple of vintage race cars. I've been paid to test, tune, and test again hundreds of different Ferraris. And I've driven so many Ferraris that frankly I've gotten bored driving Ferraris, which sounds kind of crazy. But when that's what you do day in and day out for year after year, that's what happens, right? It got to the point where I was only excited if I was driving something that was, like they made 200 of them or less, but you're getting a pretty rarefied atmosphere at that point in time. The way that I got that job was by being uncomfortable and doing the hard thing. Literally, that was it. I did something hard. Actually, I did a series of things that were hard, and the reward was an adventure that very few other people get to talk about, right? I, first of all, made a decision about how I wanted my life to go, that I wanted to start racing cars, and which was, by the way, not very well regarded by my family. And most of my friends were a little thrown off by that. And then I made a decision to go to a driving school, a race car driving school. And I had to save for months to afford to go there because I was in college and I wasn't really making much money. But I focused on saving the money to go to the school, got to the school, struggling with social anxiety as I started a conversation with somebody. That snowballed, and we had other conversations. And ultimately that ended up in me having an opportunity to interview at this shop that only worked on Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And starting off there as the most junior apprentice doing the most menial labor. It was a downgrade in income, but it was a step forward in my goal to be racing cars because the owner of the shop was racing. And I was going to learn a bunch of stuff that I didn't know that I didn't know. It took me probably 6 months till they gave me a car and said, here, this one's yours. And I was working with other mechanics and kind of moving my way up, learning more and more and more of the specialization of working on Ferraris until they gave me one of my own. It's pretty cool when you're 24 years old and you're driving around the street in a V12 Ferrari, and that's what you do. That's your job, right? The only way I got there was because I did the hard path. I didn't take the easy path. The easy path would have been to keep my family happy and to listen to my friends. But I made a different choice. I took the hard path. And that made all the difference in my life. That's what got me to California. That's what ultimately started the ball rolling in other ways that got me spending 25 years in the technology world and helping a bunch of other companies and millions of people at this point in time. You can't do all that if you take the easy route. You can only do that if you take the hard route, and you have to recognize the ROI of the hard path, because otherwise you'll never have these kinds of adventures in life. You're going to be stuck in a life that you're going to be regretting. And frankly, I got zero regrets because I've gone after the hard thing repeatedly, and the adventures have been phenomenal. I'm a really happy camper. And it's not about having a bunch of money because I'm not fabulously wealthy. It's about being really happy with my life and the adventures that I've had, and really the role modeling I'm doing for my kids, right? That's a huge part of it. So hope you're having a great day. And I really hope you choose the hard path also, because, well, that's where all the wins are. Thanks.